go through this very, very quickly. I think John's point essentially is quite important that the Growth Hub is a gateway into a lot of our programs, and the discussion so far has been about their involvement in a variety of different networks and events, and I think they'll be able to highlight some of the programs. But I do want to put this out there for people who may be in touch with businesses that are profit seeking or may have involvement in those businesses now or in future, and then may well be in a position then to be able to benefit from these. There are 3 programs that the City Council runs, or the business development team runs at the moment. All 3 are open for applications, and there is a variety of different funding that is actually available for those. The programs that I'm going to talk about is the West Midlands Grant Programme that is on the screen at the moment, and I'm also going to touch on the Net Zero Grant Programme and another business energy advice. Both are very similar, but I'll try and actually draw a distinction between the two. So to start off with, just getting through this very, very quickly, and I just want to mention the point that the business development team has been around for a very long time. It's been around for 25 years, and we've been supporting businesses across the region. And when we talk about the region, we don't just work in Birmingham, we do work with other local authority partners. And you'll see when I mention some of these programs, the other areas and local authorities that we work with. So there is a kind of a patch that we cover, but it's all being managed through the Birmingham City Council itself. So just coming on quickly onto the West Midlands Grant Programme. Essentially, this is a program that is designed to help new startup as well as existing businesses with their growth plan, any kind of aspirations that they may have in terms of improving their compatibility or growth of the business itself. This particular program actually covers not just Birmingham, but Solihull, Kenwick, and also Shropshire. But the startup support for businesses is only available in Birmingham, Solihull. So for those businesses, we offer grants of between £2,500 to £7,500. There is, for the other businesses, essentially for those that are existing businesses, and the distinction we draw is that any business that's been trading for more than 6 months will qualify as an existing business, and they can apply for the higher amount of grant, which is £5,000 up to £100,000. Now, all our grants are 50% funded. The process of application essentially is you must apply and get an approval before you take on a project, and therefore an approval must be in place. And we pay basically on completion, so the grants are reimbursed once the project is actually complete. So the business must have capability, financial capability of completing the project. This particular program is actually associated with job creation. So for every £10,000 worth of grant that we provide, basically we're looking for business to create a one or equivalent of a one full-time job. Of course, each chunk of 10K will actually produce a similar number of jobs. But the key thing here, as I said, is that go onto the website, check the eligibility, but more importantly, speak to the Growth Hub. They will take you through all of the eligibility criteria. A business must go through a business assessment before making an application, and Growth Hub is there for businesses to be able to do that and provide that support. So if you move on to the next slide, I'll just get through the next program. The next program I'm going to talk about is the Net Zero program. This one supports businesses in meeting their or reducing their carbon footprint. And this particular program is available to businesses based in Birmingham and Solihull at the moment. And grants are split very similar to the previous grant, £2,500 to up to £7,500 for new startups, and from £5,000 to £100,000 for the existing businesses. Again, these grants are also match funded at 50%. But for this particular program, you will require an energy audit. And energy audits are available freely through the Growth Hub itself, as well as our partner consortia, which is managed by the Aston University. So for those businesses who have not had their energy audit done in the last 2 years, they can take advantage of the free offer that is available. And for those who have had an energy audit carried out in the last 2.5 years, we can base your application on that particular that energy audit. And essentially, the energy audit assesses businesses' carbon footprint, heat loss, etc. They will make a set of recommendations that will help you to reduce your energy costs and also reduce the carbon footprint. And based on that, we'll put an application together which will go forward for approval. I've said this program closes in March 2025. In fact, all our programs will close in March 2025. So I'll cover that area right now. But by March, we are looking for projects to have completed and for people to have claimed their money. So you do need to take that that sort of element, to time element, into account. Generally, we tend to look for programs or projects that can be completed within 3 to 4 months. So we are looking for businesses that are ready to move forward with their projects. And we, of course, feel free to come and talk to us or the Growth Hub itself about your plans and what you're planning on doing, and we will give you advice accordingly, and we will try and actually feed in your applications at the right time. We do run what we call, it's all right, that's all right, we'll move on to the next one as well. We do run what we call kind of rounds, funding rounds, but they follow one after another. So, there is funding available subject to availability of funds, of course, up to the time where, we say March, but as I said, that is more about completion itself. Just coming up onto the final program, which is the Business Energy and Efficiency Program. Again, to be honest, this is very, very similar to the Net Zero program, but this one is geared at businesses that are at the high end of energy consumption. So like the manufacturing businesses or others that actually do have excessive use of energy. So some of that is detailed on that on the slide itself. The grant level for this is slightly different. It starts with £1,000 and goes up to £100,000. One of the things that this particular project will not actually fund is things like solar panels and others. And I think actually it might be useful for me to run through the sort of projects that we can support. So, I was talking about the growth program itself. The growth program will support businesses in terms of relocation, expansion and growth, inward investment, developing new market opportunities, innovation, capital investment, i.e. buying new plant, machinery, equipment, etc., increasing productivity, which basically means refurbishing or extension of property, etc., digital projects and likes. Yeah. In terms of the net zero program, that will actually fund things like ventilation, heating, renewable energy, LED lighting or replacement of lighting, refrigeration, compressors, insulation, solar panels, wind turbines, recycle and waste management, and water management systems. This particular program is slightly different in that, as I said, it does incorporate majority of other stuff, but it does not support things like solar panels and wind turbines. But it is geared and it's got conditions of usage of energy at a certain stage. But the BAGP actually expands beyond our Birmingham Solihull Authority. It runs over 7 local authorities and it covers Birmingham, Solihull, Wolverhampton, Coventry, Dudley, Sandwell, and Walsall. So this is just a very, very quick whistle tour of our programs. The slide that you just seen there basically contains our website, which will give you all the eligibility criteria. It will provide all the background information about the program itself. Most of the documentation will be available, but the application form is not. Very simply because in order to apply for the Net Zero and the Business Energy Efficiency grant, you must have an energy audit. Once the energy audit is carried out, we will then be able to issue the application. And for the growth program, you need to get in touch with the Growth Hub, who will carry out a diagnostic or a business assessment, and therefore they will then facilitate an application pack for you. So that's a quick whistle tour. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. David's got his hand up. David?
Hi, sorry, it was on that topic really, just to kind of fill the circle, I suppose. There is also a VCSE energy support scheme, which is a very similar program where you get an audit and then you can apply for a grant to do the improvements the audit suggests. and that's being run by Groundwork at the moment. So I guess if you're not eligible, because some of the organisations here might not be, if you're not eligible for the business one, there is a VCSE one run by Groundwork. So it would be worth bearing that in mind, both from an advice point of view, but also from an application point of view. And I did have one other question, and it might be yourself, Ash, or it might be John, or hopefully no. There was recently commissioned East Birmingham and North Solihull business support program, 900k, and I believe it's been let to an organisation called Newable. Have we got any more information on any of those?
Not from me, John.
I'm afraid I don't have the specifics. I probably know as much as you do, David, at this stage. I know that there's 6 programs that have been commissioned under the UKSBF funding that are going to be delivered through Birmingham City Council, Solihull, and through commissioned support organisations. They all have a distinct focus on what were perceived to be gaps in current provision. So they've all been kind of carefully looked at and said what's missing from the current support programs. But my understanding is that, again, they are place-based, the ones that you're talking about there again, and that they will be community-led. There will be access to a range of different support, everything from the basics of starting a business right up through to some of the growth areas that we talked about a little bit earlier, really.